Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for this very special stream. I am so excited that I have hit 10,000 subscribers. And two things I want to say about this, and I mentioned one of these earlier with people backstage before we started, was that this was a big surprise to me because I had been going along, growing steadily, getting about 30 to 60 new subscribers every month. And then all of a sudden, one day I got up and the next morning I had 10,000 subscribers. I had expected to hit it in December and it didn't. It came in August and it was a big surprise. And so I was very grateful. And I know a lot of it had to do with one video that I did that had 32,000 views. And I have no idea why that one just rang with everyone and it got there, but it was really pleasing and I was very happy. The other thing I wanted to mention was that goodness gracious, and now I've forgotten. Oh well.
Do you know what? Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Like, that is
congrats.
Awesome. That's massive. I can't imagine getting to those numbers. Like, that is really well done, but your show is very, very good. Content is really, really good.
It has been all the way
And
back.
you deserve it.
All the way back to 80 views like years ago when we first met. But you've been consistent in your content, in your mission out here, and it's well deserved, Kelly. And that's what it is. It's just you just keep doing what you love, and eventually somebody takes notice. But that video was amazing, by the way. The topic of it was not the one where that guy was trying to prove that God existed just based on the fact that atheism can't. Was that the one?
To be honest, I don't even remember. There was someone in the comments that just asked that question. Which one was it? And I know it was one where I was responding. I believe I was responding to Sean McDowell.
Yeah, it was very well done because like you were just like point counterpoint. The visuals were great. It just hit well. Like
okay. It's the one called self-debunking. No, it's not. It's not. It was called self-debunking believer.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a response to the absurd impossibility of atheism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the one I was thinking of. Okay. I enjoyed that one very well. I thought you did that one. It was just great. The visuals were great. It was point, counterpoint. It was just like, well, for me, it was the simple way to put it. It was a great takedown. Like you were on it. You were just like, nope. Nope.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And
your effort, your research, Gigi, is like outstanding. Like, I know you put so much into those videos. It's really good. You deserve to be.
Thank you. That reminded me of the other thing that I wanted to bring up, which was that my son reminded me just the other day that it's okay to take a break because I'm getting ready to go out of town tomorrow. And so I made 2 videos this week so that I would have one to release next week. And I'm trying to keep the stream steady. So I release one scripted video every week. And I tried to do one live show every Saturday, although there are some Saturdays when I can't make it. And I won't be able to do one next Saturday because I will be out of town. So I was trying to make sure I had 2 videos. But in addition to that, I did 2 videos last week because I've got a collab project going with Paulogia. And I don't know when Paulogia will have his portion of it finished. So 2 weeks in a row, I've done 2 videos in 1 week. And I was really getting burned out. And I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore.
I know.
I'm in trouble about keeping up with videos right now.
But I did get it all done. And so now I just have to wait for Paulogia to finish his part on that collab project. And that one's going to be a good one. It's a response to AIG talking about why there really was a resurrection. And it's got some of his best work in there as well. But one of the big...
I see those AIG posts and different things that come up. Like, to me, it seems almost like they're trolling. Like some of the things that they say are so dumb. Like, it's got trolling. Surely no one believes that. Please.
Did you see the one that I just released where they're claiming that the Canaanites in Spain sailed to Japan, and that's where the Japanese people descended from?
Oh, what? Oh,
And I'm going, did they
that makes
sail
sense.
in 2000 CE and they had navigation in
Yeah.
2000, I'm sorry, BC,
mhm.
or did they sail in 1488 with Diaz, and supposedly Japan was devoid of any human life from 2000 BC until 1488? Which one is it?
It's clearly that they're all true. All of them.
Granny, how do they explain the ethnic, the apparent ethnic nature of the Japanese compared to the Canaanites in the Middle East?
They don't. They
I
don't.
mean, in Europe. Oh, what a bunch of
Now,
dumb-
Jenny,
wow,
don't be asking questions.
I'm
Just-
sorry.
One of the major things that I wanted to do with this stream
just-
is thank all the people who got me here. And the person that I have to thank the most is Godless Engineer. Because if it was not for Godless Engineer, I would not even have a channel. I listened to him saying, stand up and use your voice. And so I have the good fortune of living in the same city as Godless Engineer. So I took Godless Engineer and Casey out to dinner and asked him, how do you do it? And he's the one that told me.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you did too. I'm glad that you've built a pretty good community over here.
Yeah.
Well, thank
then
you.
We all thank you then, Godless Engineer, because she's a gem. She's a gem. Yes.
And I mentioned this backstage, but I want everyone to know that I am so grateful to Jenni, because Jenni is the one that taught me how to understand the transgender community. And I would not have the relationship that I have with my son if it were not for Jenni. I am so grateful to Jenni.
I'm going to have to send you a bill.
And I owe a lot to Godless Granny as well, because I was fairly new to the community when I met her, and she was very welcoming and allowed me to be on her channel a little bit, kind of in the beginning. And I really appreciate all of everything that she's done and everybody that she introduced me to. So very excited to be here. I'll only be here for a few minutes because we put a pause on our D&D game to come say hi for a little bit because I wanted to make sure I was here. But I will eventually need to D&D game.
Dr. Ben.
Dr. Ben, that is exactly one of the things that I really try hard to do with this channel is reaching down and reaching up. Reaching down to people who have fewer subscribers than I do to try to pull them up, get them introduced to the people that I know, and reaching up to people who have more subscribers than I do so that I can get more exposure for myself so that I can pass that exposure on to other people as well.
Yeah, you're a people
Besides-
person, Gigi.
Yes.
It's
It is.
like, what
She
you
built-
do is really, really good. Like, you're just a nice person. Like, we all feel that. So, I mean, you deserve this so much.
She does. Personally, I'd say that she made it so welcoming and so
Aw.
easy, and so easy to be part of and introduce you to parts of the community that, for me myself, I felt uncomfortable because I'm not an outspoken atheist, and Godless Granny helped me get really comfortable in dealing with everybody on the issues, and just so welcoming. Her chat and the people around her are some of the best here. All very supportive, all very no matter what you do. You're a little tiny bear like me, or you're somebody huge like Godless Engineer or AronRa, and she treats you the same no matter what. And she's just 100% genuine. I think like if she puts anything out there, I'll tweet it. I tweet it to the high heaven. absolutely enjoy your AIG tweets. Have kept me going for years. Yeah,
Oh, thank you so much.
Your arguments are top notch and hysterical. Like, I like snarky humor, and whether you realize it or not, you got a way of making a point that makes them drop their pants. Like, they just can't come back. They have nothing to say, and I love it. Like, I'm all there for it. Like, yeah. It's like a mic drop every time, you know, you just drop the mic and walk off. Great.
Granny, your show is so good, so high quality, so professional. I mean, you know, especially if you ever touch on law in your show, you're so smart. It's
Well, thank
You
you.
are a barrister.
It's really clear.
Well,
It's
you were
really
a barrister.
it's really clear that God has blessed you.
Did someone mention God?
No.
I
Hey,
do
this
have
this is a Christian channel, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
That's why it's titled Godless Granny, if I'm not mistaken. It's all full of God.
No,
Got
it's,
it?
it's okay.
Got it,
no,
Granny?
No. We're talking
What-
about
Granny?
our Lord and Savior, David Gandy, is what it is. This
I
is
think
all a
it's
little
just-
joke. So this person, so I was in the UK visiting Phoebe and Katie Montgomery and like some people. It's a super fun time. But like, there's this guy, David Gandy, who's on so many posters for these vitamins. He's on so many of them with his name there, David Gandy, as if you are supposed to know who this person is. Granted, the people on the women's equivalent of the vitamins is a well-known like newscaster or something. So like she's actually recognizable. We asked everybody we met, including Katie, Emma Thorne, Phoebe. We asked everybody there if they knew who David Gandy was. And I've asked other people that I didn't meet in person if they knew. And nobody knows who David Gandy is. Apparently he's some model.
Oh, you don't know
somewhere.
who David Gandy is?
Yeah, and so we turned it
Oh,
in.
everybody knows David
gaslight.
Gandy.
Yeah, so we started gaslighting each other about it, and now we're like, wait, you don't know who? Like, nobody knows who that is.
So who is it?
Who is
Yeah,
it?
this guy, this guy.
This guy.
He's the guy on the vitamin posters.
Yeah, it's the vitamin guy.
Oh, hi, Perp. I didn't see you come in.
Hello.
Hello, Purple.
Also,
Purple is
Jenny, I
another
miss you.
person that helped me get started.
I miss you too, Ben.
Purple is someone that I can always count on, along with Mage and Jenny. That if I'm ever scrambling for a guest cancels on me at the last minute, these are people I know that can fill in and just have a great conversation with.
I
Out of
just think
everyone
it's
here,
amazing that Granny got this far without having a cat.
Okay, I have something I want to present, and this is something that Art made, and this one knocked my socks off. I went to a funeral not too long ago, and they presented a music video where they were talking about how the deceased was now in a better place. And it inspired me to write a song, and Art put it to music, and Art asked me what I had in mind for the melody. And I'm not a very good singer. I love to sing in the choir, but I have a terrible sense of rhythm. So choir directors love me because I watch the director like a hawk, because I know that I will be offbeat if I don't watch the director. And I also like singing in a choir because I tune myself to the person next to me, because I know I will go off tune if I don't have someone next to me to keep me on pitch. And I sang for Art what I kind of had in mind and figured that Art would run with it. What just blew my socks off was that Art actually used my voice and changed the pitch where needed, changed the tempo where needed, so that he could put it into the video. Now, I don't have any video to go with this. It's just audio. I haven't had long enough for video to it.
We'll work on that.
But this is a song that I wrote for the Atheist Community to be used at a funeral. Okay.
I'm not in a better place, but that's okay. I'm not here, I've left this life, but I'm not gone. entirely. I'm not in a better place, but that's okay. I love my life, I live my life. I don't need a better place. This one here was good enough for me. I live on inside your heart and in your memories. If I gave you this, then that's enough. My life here is complete. I'm not in a better place, but that's okay. I'm not in a better place, but you're gonna be okay. You loved your life, you lived your life. We didn't need a better place. This one here was good enough for us. Now's your time to live your life, to grow, to learn, to love. If I gave you this, then that's enough. My life here is complete. You're not in a better place, but that's okay. I'm not in a better place, but you're gonna be okay. You're not in a better place, but I'm gonna be okay.
That was amazing.
That was
That was
incredible.
great.
Amazing, amazing job. Like I was getting teary.
Oh, thank you.
How
I
did you get?
especially wrote that for Robin.
Yeah, Sloth Girl and I were listening to that after we came back from her uncle's funeral, and that just brought her to tears, but in a good way. It was helping her deal with it.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
No,
Because that's exactly what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to be something that the atheist community can play at a funeral and give them the give encouragement to the survivors that just because the deceased isn't in a better place doesn't mean, we can't go on and we can't.
Well,
I don't know.
Well,
and
speaking about
especially for Sloth Girl, because we already knew at that point that her time was limited.
speaking about the ones that have passed, it was on Diana's channel, and that's how I got introduced to this channel. Kate Farr, Bionic Dan, and suggested that I should go over to Godless Granny since she's not doing atheist stuff anymore.
I think
Yeah,
it's
it's a
beautiful.
sweet song, Gigi. Like your lyrics are really, really nice. It's so heartfelt. I like the version that you sent to me originally, and remember I put something together around that, the original, and it's just so heartfelt. Like you feel songs like that, It's so meaningful. It's well written. You're a songwriter.
We should.
And with
we
that,
got.
I'm gonna have to head back to my D&D campaign. But
Okay, well, thank you for dropping by. It's been wonderful
wanted
having
to-
you. Thank you.
yeah, I want to make sure I said congratulations on 10K, and I'm sure you won't stay in the 10Ks for too much longer based on the trajectory. So I hope to see a lot of cool things coming soon.
Yes.
But
thank you.
Bye, Ben.
It's
Dr.
great to see you, Ben.
Yeah, enjoy
See you,
your
Ben.
game. Yeah. That song is just quintessential you, Godless Granny. The way that you hit on a topic where not enough is addressed on how do we deal as atheists with the passing of someone and going to funerals. It's all can be very God related depending on who it is. And how do we ourselves deal with it in the loss? And you just put it all into words so great. It made it easy for everybody, just like you do, just like I keep saying that you do. That's just so you. It was beautiful. It was
I
absolutely
heard
beautiful.
one of the other content creators make the comment that one of the things that the Christian community does well is they're there for people for the biggest moments, the 3 biggest times of life: birth, and marriage and death. And that's something that we in the atheist community don't have, is the coming together that they have. And so we need things that will draw us together in those
The
moments.
community thing.
What would it take to get this thing on iTunes?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
You just post it. Yeah.
Well, so I mean, Apple's a little bit trickier with all their stuff. I'm not sure how easy it is to put something on iTunes. But if you need help with that, Godless Granny, I don't mind doing the legwork to figure out how to get that done. But I do know Apple is, as far as getting stuff on their platform, they're pretty strict about it. They try to keep it tightly controlled.
Maybe Spotify.
Spotify. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to keep interrupting.
It's hard not to with this many people.
Godless Engineer, stop interrupting.
I just need to shut up. I'll just sit over here.
No, please don't.
I mean, you monopolized the entire time of this panel, John.
Just taking over.
I need you.
Like Donald Trump. He just wants to rule everything. It's like, come on, what are you doing?
Hey, I have the best words, okay? Literally.
I was
just
gonna
because
say,
he's got the biggest channel, he thinks he's entitled to take over.
Trust me, I'm very surprised anytime anybody's like, "Oh, it's the Godless Engineer," or anybody recognizes me. So,
I mean, I told Granny backstage about like how like John and I have disagreements, but he's one of the longest known people that I've known in this community. Purple's next, but me and John, even whenever we've had disagreements on Twitter and things like that, and people try to get in there and be like, "Yeah, get that fraud" or whatever, I'd be like, "Whoa, hold on. Me and John are friends. Like, we disagree about this one specific topic, but I'm not over here trying to own him or anything like that. Like, we just have a disagreement."
yeah.
Yeah, well, Godless Engineer was definitely.
But I
among
was
the
going to say
first 10 atheist
Spotify
channels
is a
I
bit
found.
relaxed. It's a little bit easier.
Anyway, you were going to make a point.
Wait, Kate, was that
John, isn't it?
was that directed at me, Caitlin?
Perp,
No, she said no.
No.
Perp, what did you say? I missed part of it.
I was just saying, I know that Godless Engineer was among the first 10 atheist channels I found.
That's cool.
Godless Engineer, I haven't been around your show much because I've gotten so distracted by other things. But I remember when you were like brand new and you were so nervous about everything. And you expressed so much self-doubt, but you really turned into a powerhouse.
Yeah, I really appreciate those kind words. I don't really consider I don't consider myself all that much of a powerhouse because whenever I post videos now, like I'm lucky to get like over 2,000 views or something like that. Like I feel like my single videos don't really do all that great.
Well, I was thinking more on the level of your content and quality more than who the hell watches it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely have. I feel like I've grown, at least in like my technical capability as far as like making videos and everything like that. I'm just sometimes I get into the groove of doing it one particular way, and I just stick to that way. And so right now, I'm trying to think about how I can pivot on my channel a little bit because like. There's obvious content that does really good, and then there's other content that doesn't. And so I'm just trying to figure out a good balance so that I can kind of get back on track. But I don't want to spend Godless Granny's entire time talking about my my bullshit.
Actually, I was going to mention.
There you go again.
You had a conversation recently, a live one that when I saw it, I was really excited in it, and I popped in and saw that it wasn't starting for 5 hours, and I couldn't be there then, and so I left a comment that I would watch it later, and I still have it saved to watch later, and I'm still waiting to watch that one.
Which one was that?
You had a woman guest, and it was very recent. I don't think it was your most recent live one. I think it's your second most recent live one.
Oh, the Deborah?
Yes. I want to see that one.
Yeah, Deborah's a good person. That was a good interview too. So, yeah, she wrote a book about her life growing up religious and then leaving out, and kind of explaining exactly why she left religion. So it's like, really, it was a really good interview.
Granny, how do you decide what shows you're going to do? How do you get some of these bigger name people to come on your show?
Well, I've had some help from the Atheist Book Club. The people in the Atheist Book Club have some connections to believers, and they are some of the people that draw in some of the believers. I've also Dr. Richard Carrier has been helpful. I read his blog semi-regularly, and like Chrissy Hansen, he did a blog on what Chrissy Hansen was doing with the book on Philemon, and from his blog, I reached out to Chrissy, and that's how I got Chrissy on. I read a lot of Dr. Ehrman's blogs. Now, I cannot get Bart Ehrman. He's out of my league, but some of the other people that he talks about. I also watch a lot of Derek Lambert's show, Myth Vision podcast, and I look at what guests he gets on, and that gives me some ideas of who to reach out to. But as far as contents for like the scripted videos, there's a person on Twitter called Atheism Actually, and he will frequently post videos and say, hey, this is a good thing to respond to, and he'll tag me with them. And some of those have been really good. The ones on the book, Bloody, Brutal, and Barbaric, that was one of the ones that he suggested, and I ended up doing 2 of those. There's 9 episodes of Bloody, Brutal, and Barbaric, where they've got this panel of 2 college students and a college professor who are trying to justify the barbarity of the Old Testament, and they fall flat on their faces.
You can't justify it.
No, you can't.
It's nasty. It's not nice at all.
Mm-hmm. One thing I have said, for the last 40 years is I'm really not that intelligent. I listen to what other people say and I repeat it.
But it takes it takes intelligence to know what is good information to listen to and what is not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Especially nowadays.
I've said something very similar whenever it comes to like philosophy on Twitter. Is I've said I've readily admit I'm a dumbass when it comes to philosophy. Mm-hmm. I was like, but every now and then I'll put a philosophical take out there. And all the people who I know that are like PhD levels of philosophy, they tend to like it. So I was like, I think I'm doing okay. And one of them, he was like, no, you really do have some pretty good takes. And I was like, awesome. I was like, I know I'm at least stepping in the right direction and I'm not going backwards. He's not like, oh no, all your takes are trash, my guy. What are you doing?
I have to reclaim here, you guys. Where this conversation went, I am clearly the dumbest person here. Okay, that's my title. It has been for years.
That's clearly not true.
You don't get to take it from me.
It's not true, but I wouldn't dare take the title from you if you.
Now Claire is the dumbest person here.
I am the dumbest person here, admittedly. So I say it all the time. Yeah.
That's also not.
But I wouldn't take the title from Jenni if she wants.
Well, Jenni wants to own it, so we'll give it to her.
Yeah, but, yeah.
Now remember, that doesn't count if we're in the same room as flat earthers.
Agreed. Okay.
One thing that I do is if I'm writing a script and there's something I'm not sure about, I'll paste that section of the script in a question to someone I know that knows more about it than I do and ask, did I get this right? Trolley Dave, he has a very small channel, but he's good with philosophy. And I've asked him a number of questions that he's helped me with. And another one is Jenni. Whenever I have a question of whether or not something might be offensive to the transgender community, I send it to Jenni and did I get this right? Am I phrasing this well? Am I being offensive?
Granny, which Dave?
Trolley Dave.
Trolley Dave.
Oh, Trolley Dave.
Yeah. Dave Rollins. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I know his channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, can somebody give me a link for that?
He's with the Answers and Reasons, and he has his own channel. He's with Joe and Bearded and Phil.
I met him through Answers and Reason. But yeah, I've also watched some of his stuff that he's done on his own as well.
And that's one of the things that I've really loved about Granny is just how many new people she's introduced us to with her interviews.
Whenever I said that there's a PhD level philosophy guy who said that my takes were good, it was Dave I was talking about.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Dave's like, you got some good takes. I'm like, good. I'm not as dumb as I thought I was. Awesome.
Unfortunately, I'm as dumb as I thought I was.
And Jer for the win.
Yes,
I love Andrew.
Yes, they're on it in Mage too. There you go. No.
Claire, it has been enjoyable watching some of your stuff on true crime. What are you working on right now?
Oh, there are so many. I'm following like 23 different cases, but you have also been a guiding light in that, in reasonableness with such, because I'm not a lawyer, but I check with lawyers all the time, and you've been.
I can tell. I can tell. There's points that you've picked up on the law that I would have missed.
But I love it. I never presented to be a lawyer, and I like, people come at me all the time, like, why are you out there talking on that end of it? I'm like, I'm just being common sense and trying to bring a little common sense.
You're being intelligent, Claire.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just ruining my stick, aren't I? But I can't help it, because there are two sides to a coin, and I'm definitely them. Fridays, it's chaos. You come over there, and I do my crazy stuff on the weekend. But during the week, it's all reasonable. And Granny has helped me understand you don't have to be a lawyer. But some of it is just straight common sense. And if I have a question, there are people to go to, and I always check it out. I just believe my true crime interest is mostly about misinformation.
Your research.
Yes, and research. And that was my love first. And I do read legal briefs every morning because I'm just addicted. Some of it's funny as hell. Some of it's great. And then now I'm against mostly almost all the cases that I've been following lately are because mass media has decided to make people guilty before there's even a trial. And I'm very offended. Although I'm biased in some of the cases, and I admit it, once you see the evidence, I'm just like, oh man, it's ridiculous. But I want people to make better choices. In a lot of YouTubers getting actually locked up for interfering in these investigations and cases. Like, that's basically where it is right now. And I'm having a hard time. You asked me this question, and I can't tell you what I'm doing right now because that's where my head's at. I'm so frustrated with where true crime is going that I'm almost flinch when anybody mentions, oh, Claire, what are you doing in true crime this week? And I'm like, oh, go. Like, I'm trying to find my niche in a very uncomfortable genre right now. Like, it's against the genre itself is against all of my major principles. Like, I'm having a hard time keeping my own fortitude about it.
I have a suggestion for you. Yes. I'm currently reading a book called Evidence of Things Not Seen. And I found it in the true crime section of the bookstore where I bought it. And it's true crime from a very different perspective. It's more from the victim's perspective. And it doesn't glorify the crime. It really offers a very different perspective on telling true crime stories.
Is that the one by James Baldwin?
No, that's evidence of things seen.
Okay, this is okay. So this is
Evidence of things not seen. This
Okay.
one is a collection of shorter stories that a lot of them were reports of true crime incidents. One of them is a collection of the problem of missing Indigenous women that the police just don't seem to care about. One of them was the disappearance of an activist in Georgia. Things like that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm going to look for that. Maybe we can talk afterwards, and I can find the author and track that one down, because it is difficult. I'm covering Sarah Boone mostly right now. This is 5 years in, and she hasn't had a trial yet. She's on her 9th attorney.
Wow.
8 of them were public defenders, and they leave saying things like irreconcilable differences, conflict of interest, and or compromising their professional obligations, which means she's asking for things that they just cannot legally do in their profession. I mean, it's wild. The whole case is wild. Like,
if you want true crime, don't you just go Donald Trump?
You know what? I tried covering Trump legal, because let's just be honest, like there was a lot of legal stuff there to cover. Okay.
Oh, there is a
law,
lot.
There was civil.
Yeah.
I actually mapped them all out, but damn, I could not even answer all of the DMs, emails in Slack that I got. I couldn't even answer it all, and I tried to answer everything. I just was like, okay, if you don't want to know about this, then fine. I'll just
Claire, let me stop you there. This is a witch hunt. It's a witch hunt. It's to keep me from becoming the ultimate president again.
False news.
Yes,
Very bad.
I just think it's amazing that a man who can't even vote for himself is allowed to run for president. Like, he's even currently cannot visit 34 countries that we have to deal with on a regular basis, and England is one, and that man can't get off a plane in England because he's a felon. Like, this is okay. That's it. That's all I got to say. Aren't you sorry you asked now, Greg?
I didn't know that.
Doesn't true crime pretty much beg for a false crime?
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
they do happen.
Yeah, they do.
That's my new That's my new channel that I came up with all by myself. No help whatsoever.
Look what you did, Jenny.
I'll be right back. I have to return some coffee.
Have you followed anything on what's going on with Nick Rekieta?
Actually, because he's a legal YouTuber, I have been following it personally, but I won't stream on it. The legal YouTubers themselves are a nice little clique, and I'm not going to put my toe in that water. And nope.
Claire says I don't want all of legal YouTube coming after me right now.
Exactly, because I'm going to, like, I don't care who's friends with whose. These are the facts. This is what it says. You can legally interpret it any way you
got
want.
a barrister here.
Yeah.
Gigi will look after you.
Yeah.
Who is the person?
Yeah, I would need the mafia to look after me. I wouldn't need just Granny. Because I'm telling you, these people are tight.
You're in New Jersey. You just get one of the Sopranos.
Exactly. I wish I knew more of them. But
I have a question for GE. I know how I choose my content. How do you choose what you're going to do for your content?
Usually it's whatever I'm fancying that week. Like if I see something, I'll usually do like a video on it, or I'll just go searching for videos, and if it's something that I feel like I haven't beat into the ground relentlessly, then I'll make a video about it. Like I got one that I need to record here soon that's actually about Eric Hovind, because he did some creepy shit over there on Twitter.
We did?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm. He did some creepy shit over there.
Out a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole entire age of consent thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got this weird idea of consent, and he also plays up that argument of comparing the LGBTQ community to pedophiles and bestiality and all this other stuff. And so
Wow.
like in the video that I have written up, and I coordinated with Dr. Joshua Bowen on this, but like the video that started all of it that he shared, and he said like this is the same reasoning, this would be okay under the same reasoning that LGBTQ individuals use, but in reality the video that he played is actually like a biblically accurate relationship for what in the Old Testament, because like the age requirement and everything like that meets all of the biblical like stuff for how the Jewish people operated. And so like my whole thing is I'm really tired of apologists sort of like putting people on the defensive, being like you have to defend your position and everything. I'm tired of hearing that a lot, which I know that people push back against them, but I'm tired of hearing that. So every time I get into one of those conversations, I'm like, I can easily justify why this is horrible, wrong, and disgusting. I want to hear why you think it is. Like, can you use your Bible to justify why that is wrong? Because I feel like if you actually read it and you read the scholarship on it, you'll see that you can't.
Right.
John, have you ever thought that because you don't have a God, then you clearly don't know what morals are? And by the way, this is definitely not a deflect away from you asking me that question.
Obviously.
Well,
and that's why you just got to be relentless about getting them to defend, like, use the Bible to defend this as horrible and disgusting. You can't. Like,
What
all
are the
these
biggest
people-
things? Go ahead, Purple.
all these people who talk about defending biblical marriage, and it's like, if everybody knew what it actually was, I can't imagine one woman being okay with it.
No.
Purple, you would be absolutely shocked at what I put up with when I was a believer.
Yeah.
I've mentioned it on a few channels, and I rarely talk very in depth on it on my own channel because family members might be watching. But when I'm on other people's channels, I'm a little bit more open about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna revive one of my old shirt designs that I had on Teespring a long time ago, before marriage equality got passed, because it's become such a big topic now. It's a caveman with a club that's dragging a woman by her hair, and it says support traditional marriage.
Oh. Oh no. And I
Not
was
bad.
just going to say, I'm so glad that you're pushing back on those tweets with Hovind, because he doubled down. Even
Oh,
after-
yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure that he did it multiple times, but I mean, he was steadfast in like his inability to grasp the concept of consent. Like it's so weird that they can't grasp like consent and how that makes everything different.
if you know,
I like
you
Marcelo's
change
question.
these people's minds? Like, can you change them? Like what you do, like GG and GE, like you're out there talking and putting your ideas out there. Can you change religious people?
Yes.
Well,
I know I
go
know
ahead,
it can be
Dean.
done because AronRa changed me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
What
so
no, go ahead.
oh,
Go ahead, G.
no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that I personally cannot speak for like every like thing. I like everybody, like all the believers. I know that one like it took me having to take a deep look into my actual beliefs for me to change. And I like my brother-in-law who is an atheist, he kind of helped push me in there, but he also pushed me down the wrong rabbit hole because I got moved in with the whole entire Zeitgeist movie, and that is just a complete and utter Oh my God, there's so much wrong with that movie. But anyways,
Yeah. Conspiracy theory.
Thinking
but
about it, might be more accurate to say that we give them the tools to change themselves.
yes,
Yeah.
I know that there has been a position
Yeah.
from a believer that I did help them move a bit because he had sat there and said that we have more documentation on Jesus Christ than any historical figure. And because I broke it down logically, and I sat there and told him, we have a lot about George Washington, like not only his own personal writings, but writings from other people, and then all these other different things. And he got to the point where he finally admitted, he's like, okay, yeah, we have documentation for other historical figures other than Jesus, but I just tired of the mythicist position. I'm like,
Clearly,
that's fine.
George is real,
Well,
but
and I'm like, that's fine because I'm like, I get it. You're a Christian. You're going to be tired of the mythicist position, but like, you don't defend it by being absolutely wrong at the same time,
I
Yeah.
have Dr. Carrier coming on September 21st to discuss that exact subject. He says he has some new research that's coming out soon on that exact subject, and we're going to be discussing that on September 21st.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
I
What
definitely
about
will
Who
tune in.
claim that we have more documentation on Jesus? They're counting all the copies of copies.
Yeah.
So if
Well,
you're talking
so-
about any of the founding fathers, shouldn't you include every copy of the Constitution ever printed under that?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there are people that make that particular argument using like all of the copies and everything like that, and they try to say that, oh, he's the most attested. But there is a more of an academic version of that particular argument, which is actually used by Dr. Bart Ehrman. Ehrman claims that for the kind of figure that Jesus is, he's one of the most well-documented people in the first century, which is kind of contrary to that meme that gets passed around where people claim that he says Jesus, like there's no references to Jesus whatsoever.
I
But-
saw that.
Yeah, that's a bad image, and it's also not representative of his position. But the way that Ehrman argues it, which I obviously am going to disagree with, but he argues it from fabricated sources. He basically says because there's a Q document, an M document, and an L document, and then all the other kinds of documents or oral lore that would sit behind the Gospels, along with Paul. All those things combined sort of make Jesus like one of the most well attested figures, like in the first century. Is how he would argue it. Obviously, I'm going to have problems with that.
I'd like to
Yes,
discuss
we know
this
you would.
question that Marcelo has brought up, which is there any subject related to theism, atheism that you won't cover in your videos? If so, can you briefly comment on why? And for me, the answer is anything I don't know about. Particularly, I stay away from the argument from consciousness because I just don't know enough about it to really have an intelligent comment.
Oh,
Mhm.
real quick before everybody gets lost in the weeds. I actually did come across an article that said that of course it's a science communication article. It's not going to be like give you every bit of it, but what it said was that quantum entanglement can help explain consciousness, which was pretty interesting.
On the
That is
subject of
interesting.
on the subject of mythicism or whether there was a historical Jesus, well, I'm not sure it really matter is at this point because whatever hell's in the Bible, if there was a real Jesus, ain't it?
Yeah, I get that position too about that, and I totally respect that position. Like, it's definitely a niche sort of thing. Like, if for me, what kind of compels me to discuss mythicism, even as like it's not the most popular stuff on my channel, it's that I look at it like this. Like, I care about history and the Christian origins and how Christianity came to be and all that kind of stuff. I care about what's true in history, just like if there was any way that we could know who actually did kill JFK, like if there's any good reason to think somebody else did, I would want to know about it. And so it's kind of the same thing there. I also apply my skepticism that I have for God and I'm to the Jesus question. And so like I'm not going to sit here and say God exists when I don't have good evidence that convinces me. So that's when I started looking into the evidence for Jesus. And so, like, I get people not really being concerned about it because the Jesus that's in the Gospels definitely didn't exist, and that's the only one for the most part a lot of people have to focus on. But for me, it's more of a deeper intellectual. Not to say that people that don't consider this question aren't intellectual, but I'm just saying it's a deeper intellectual kind of question of what were the real origins of Christianity, how did that develop over time and everything. So it's like,
Makes sense.
This position is the one that me and GE kind of worry about, because I lean more closer towards the historical Jesus, but it's like these are just small disagreements me and him have, that which is, like I said, whenever I've been talking with GE on Twitter and things like that, like this is the ones where people are like, yeah, get that fraud, and I'm just like, whoa, calm down now, like relax. Like I disagree with GE about the historicity thing, but like I'm still friends with John. Calm down.
Yeah. Well, and as far as the question goes, I can't think of anything that I wouldn't cover, but I there are definitely things that take me a lot longer to like make sure that I'm right about. Well, whereas there are some other things that I can sort of do off the top of my head. So like anything concerning the existence of God, generally, I'm fine with, I don't have to do much research for it. The history of Christianity, I don't have to do much research for it. And that kind of stuff. Well, the things that I haven't been doing a lot lately, because it takes more time, is the evolution stuff. Specifically, if they get into the weeds about certain things, like there was a this one video that I responded to that was about radioactive decay, and using radioactive decay to date things. And so like I had a good enough like understanding to be able to rebut the video. And you're always going to have people in the comment section that are like, oh, but you didn't mention this. And so like
Always.
I've started going a bit deeper into things, trying to explain more things. Like with the Eric Hovind thing, I'm going to be talking about that. And I actually got in touch with Dr. Joshua Bowen. He gave me a good reference for like whether or not, what was the marrying age in general in Israel. And so he sent me pictures of a book that he has that explains like what the general sentiment was at the time. And so I'm using that in order to rebut. So like I have to do a little bit of research, but like for the most part, I'm like, this is pretty simple stuff kind of thing. So that makes things like, if I can easily respond to it, that makes it more likely I will. But if it takes a bit more time and research, then more than likely it just takes more time to get it put out.
Yeah. I tend to go ahead.
That's one argument that I really don't like, and I don't hold to it, is the argument that Mary didn't consent to being impregnated with Jesus, because in the Bible she's quite clearly giving her consent. She says, "Do unto me as you have said," and GE, you do have a good argument. If she's only 15, then she hasn't reached the age of consent. However, in her culture, she was considered an adult and she was considered of marriable age. And
well, see, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay.
I was just gonna say, oh crap!
There you go again, GE, trying to take over the entire channel.
Yeah. It's taken over again. Come on, mate, settle down.
I guess where I focus on that is not the like that particular part of Mary saying that. I typically focus on the fact that the angel doesn't ask, right? Like it's not like the angel comes down and is like, hey, will you do this solid for me? Like, is that okay? And then she gives
I thought that was just me. Kind of I thought that was just me, that my internet was slowing up or something like that. But no, it was on John's end.
Yeah, that definitely glitched.
Yeah, it was definitely angel interference there.
John, that is a really good point. Make sure you put that in the video. Because I'm sure there are other people that think like me and say, the Bible clearly says that she consented, but I hadn't even thought about the fact that they didn't ask her, they told her.
Yeah, they said when you're God, they just let you do it.
Yeah.
They said Angel came down and said, looky here, you have no choice in this. This is happening whether you want to accept it or not. So just accept it. And Mary was like, oh okay.
I'm so glad
I
you're
saw a
living.
good meme the other day that had Joseph sitting there asking, God, I know you made Adam out of the dust. So how come to make your son you had to knock up my wife?
Yeah, I've seen something like that similar.
I'd just like to say I'm so glad you're actually addressing it because for a long time I have believed that this is actually one of the foundation things that started where extremists are getting this hold. Like it doesn't matter what women say like about anything like property. It actually started in the foundation of that religion right there. And it's just grown and become a horrible thing. And I'm glad that you're pointing it out because it is that it just didn't even occur to the angel or anyone above that perhaps she would have something to say about this, and give consent. And I think that's where a lot of the argument comes, where like we shouldn't have to say, if we're good women, we'll just go with it. We're just gonna go with it, right, Granny? We're just gonna go with it. Yes.
I mean, there's so many other things in the Bible that clearly say that they never considered a woman having consent for anything.
No, but
the whole thing about taking the young girls from the countries they conquered and so forth.
Well, one of the things that I really dislike about the Bible is the fact that you have these verses just like that, where basically women have no say so in things. But what makes it incredibly frustrating is the fact that you have that, and then on top of that, you have these verses where believers point out to it's like, well, look, women actually can own property. Women can do this. Women can do that. They had, agency and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah. Do you realize that having both of those views held at the same time makes the fact that the one view is 10 times worse? That that she can have property because her husband, and then on top of that, she doesn't get a say in anything at all.
Well, also the ones that point out as far as a woman having property in that completely fail to notice that that's a clear class distinction. That wealthy women had privileges that the average woman did not have.
Yeah.
I would like to hear from you guys, because you're so much more involved in this than I am. For me, atheism is just shaking my head and say, "There's no freaking God. There's no freaking ghost. There's no freaking Easter Bunny or Santa Claus. However, the Tooth Fairy does exist."
Yeah, of course.
Do you consider, whenever I hear people trying to defend their atheism and they're not people who are deeply into it, they take all the various pieces of the Bible that will have verses which by today's standards are clearly immoral. The slavery being the big one, but also finding contradictions in the Bible, where in the Old Testament says this and the New Testament says that, and they're clearly in conflict 180 degrees. Is that a valid way to address whether or not religion is real?
Valid is. You see, I want to answer that, Jenny, but the word valid actually makes me hesitate a little bit. I would say that actually sounds like how much of us start to doubt because of those things that you just said. Like for me, I could say personally, that was it. Whether that's a valid way of actually looking at it, but it did cause my dissent. I come from a very religious family. Everyone else in my family believes in some way on whether they go to church, whether they believe in just God in general and don't believe in formed religion, but they're all believers, and I'm the only one that's not. But it was those contradictions and those immoral things and those non-humanistic way of addressing issues as people being people that actually caused my dissent in my pulling away and to say, nope, there is no God. I am with you. I'm in the yeah, sure, Jan Club. Yeah, sure.
So my position. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were done.
No, I just want to say, like, I'm not a historian, like, with all the fact I wasn't as deeply involved as Granny in religion to have all the history there and to know the Bible that well. Or I'm not philosophically based, you know, I don't come in from it from a scientific, just like everything else, just common sense. Like, sure, Jan, that makes sense. Like, nope. Like, I'm side-eyeing, you know, I'm side-eyeing the whole thing. But whether that's valid or not, that's the thing that hedges me up. Does that make it valid? Because I had doubts. I had serious doubts. Those are the things that stuck out to me that made it doubtful that any of this was anything more than the Bible being a great novel that a bunch of guys got together and told, and they had no idea it was going to come off this well all over the world. Like, you know, too bad they didn't have a publisher. Like at the time, they made a fortune. You know, to me,
too bad they didn't have a competent editor.
They blew it on copyright.
No, I look at it as a great novel instead of a documentary. It's definitely not a documentary. There's too many inconsistencies, like as far as what is fact.
I think that it's a documentary on what people at that time believed, rather than a documentary of actual historical fact.
Yeah, but a story of belief is still a great novel. It's definitely not a documentary.
Absolutely. No, like I said, if there's a documentary about, like, if the Bible was a documentary about anything, it's just solely about what people of the time frame believed, and that's about
exactly.
Well, obviously, religion is just a silly hat contest that got way out of hand.
I've seen that meme before, and I like it. I like it because I like all the silly hats.
Common sense is the thing, isn't it? Like common sense. Like I never had religion. Like even as a young guy, you just look at the world. Apparently, there's a God, and you look at the world and you see all the shit that's going on, and you think, why is this happening? If there's a God, why is this going on? Wars, starving children around the world. Like, even at a young age, like as a teenager, like you're questioning that. You're just going, this doesn't make sense. So even at that, like, young time, I mean, it's so blatantly obvious to me. You don't need to be an intellectual. You can see it's clearly like silly. It doesn't add up, you know?
And with that, we are out of time.
Oh.
And I really want to thank everyone for coming. It has been wonderful having all of you. Thank you all for the love and the support that you have all given me that has allowed my channel to grow the way that it has.
Congratulations, Gigi. You deserve it. Your show is A1. Well done.
Don't forget
I can't wait to. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say I'll be here for 25. I'm sure that's where you'll be next year. Let's go.
I don't know if I'll do one at 25.
Okay, well, if you get 50,000 next year, then
Holding out for 50.
100K.
Actually, no. Actually, Claire, you're right. That is the one that I would do next. Would be 25. If I hit 25 in my lifetime, I will do another one for 25. You're right.
Well, it really doesn't matter because by this time tomorrow, this is going to be Godless Engineer #2. Channel.
I just totally take over.
I used to watch Mr. Atheist when he was Mr. Atheist. And I remember watching him for quite a while, and he got to like 10K, and he kind of struggled to get there. Then all of a sudden, within like months, he was up to like 100K just
wow.
for whatever reason. Gigi, I think you might be on track for that.
Well, one of the funniest things is like because I've been in a panel with Jimmy before, and I asked him, you know, like, how did you like blow up that quickly? And he this was like after we were done with the show or whatever, and we were all backstage, and Jimmy was just like, honestly, if I could tell you, I would. But he's like, I just experimented with the algorithm. That's it. He's like, I tried all these different things. And I was actually I was in the chat whenever he was doing one live stream or one video where he said, what he did was he had people every so often going back and forth from hitting the like to dislike. And that was one of the tests he was doing to check the algorithm to see what would happen. And so that's all he did was he just checked the algorithm and figured out what worked and what didn't. And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, next week there will be no stream because I will be out of town. The following week it will be Derek Lambert. And I am really excited about that conversation because I have never spoken to him before. And so it's going to be really fun talking to him.
Ireland, Gigi? Are you going overseas?
I am. I'm going to London.
London.
Oh, wonderful.
Bring me back some
I was
fish and
there
chips.
last year.
Okay, we'll do, Jenny.
Going to the land of the bottled water, in it.
Yep. Yep. Okay, thank you all for coming. It has been a pleasure, and thank you all for all of the support that you have given me.
Thanks, Gigi. Thank you.
It has been an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you blow up even more. I mean, you deserve all the subscribers you can get there, Godless Granny.
Thank you. Live your life.
See you guys.